Hey y'all, Instinct Survivalist here. Talk to you today about survival fires or beacons. I actually had a challenge for one of the lessons that I'm doing is getting a survival fire or beacon started and going. And my understanding, this is me, is uh, a big blaze within 15 minutes. So I've done some things to ensure that that's going to happen. And in this, I've done it with all natural materials. Okay. Now, keep in mind there are some other things we can do, and we'll talk about that as we go. But there's some other things we can do to ensure that we're getting seen for a signal fire. Specifically, we're not talking about the 3X's. We're not talking about an orange flag. We're not talking about, the list goes on. We're talking specifically about a signal fire or beacon. Okay, so stay tuned for that, and I'll actually take you through what I've got, how I've prepared it, and what we're doing with it.
So in
Okay.
preparation, what I've done is, keep in mind, I live in an HOA, unfortunately, and didn't have a really good place to go in and do this. So you can see, fence, house, fence, houses there. And if you listen real close, you can hear I'm not too far from the airport, so signaling a plane is not that difficult. Anyway, so in this, what I've done is I've actually staged this. So first thing I did is I actually built a platform on the bottom because I want to make sure that everything stays dry and off the ground. Okay, added some smaller sticks. You can see here and here, some smaller sticks, and then as we go up, you see a couple of bigger ones in there, but for the most part, this is all small. Okay, and then you can see the further up we get, the bigger it is. Okay. Now the other part is this is my tinder bundle. In a survival situation, I will keep that in my pocket, keep it on my person. Additionally, I will keep another one in another place, out of my pocket and in a dry place, specifically for the purpose of if I were to get wet, sweat, rain, whatever it is, I want to make sure that I have a dry tinder bundle. This being a staging system, this is one, this is two. As soon as number one gets lit, I'm going to use number two to put right on top of it. That's a nice bundle of small sticks, and then that will assure that the fire goes from here, because that's where I'm putting my tinder bundle. The fire will go, grow, and then climb as I need to. Okay, so that's stage 1, 2, and 3, if you will. Now stage 4 is where it starts getting great. Stage 5 is ultimate bliss, if you will, as far as a survival fire goes. Stage 4, I found a dead boxwood. Now the thing about that is look at all the small twigs there. Okay, put my thumb up to it. Those are small. Okay, and that's what will happen in that is those will catch really, really quickly. Now it is a bush, I'll give you that, so keep in mind that if you're out in the wild, find you a dead bush, that'd be great for a signal fire. That's stage 4. Stage 5 is all the dead wood, deadfall, dead debris that I have. And you can see I've got small sticks in there. I've got, twigs, sticks, bundles, and then you also see a lot of leaf in there. Now the benefit of the leaf is smoke. Okay, as we go through this and you see that we got the fire going, there's two things that are going to be a nice contrast, especially against all the green around me, is smoke, white smoke. Okay, so I could actually take those leaves, put it on top of the fire, and create a nice plume of smoke because there's still a little bit of green still left in them. And if I were to snap a few of these twigs, what you'll hear is not quite the crisp crack of it, but you'll be able to hear what's going on and know that those are still got a little bit of green in them. Okay, again, the green around. And one other thing that we could add, yes, I did go to Starbucks this morning. One other thing we can add, and you see I'm not in the wild. One other thing I could add is if I wanted to, and depending upon where I am, keep in mind another option, not just white smoke against a green background, but if you're in an open area, black smoke works great. Meaning that if you have something that's petroleum based, if you have a tire, rubber, anything of that nature that you have found, scrounged, or what have you, and keep in mind, when you're talking about survival fires and survival as a whole, you use whatever's around to get yourself rescued. Okay, so that being said, if you found an old tire, throw it on the fire. Once you get it going, just add that to the fire, or in that case, typically what I would do is I would have this built up a little bit higher, have the tire sitting on top as a ring, if you will. So when the fire licks up from the bottom, it'll actually start burning and melting that tire, and then black smoke going up in the air. Okay, so that's just an idea or thought to go with this. Again, keep in mind, if we're going for, you know, EPA regulation and crap like that, you don't want to use that. However, when we're talking about a true signal fire, exactly what you want, something to alert somebody else that you're here. Okay, so the challenge is that from a sitting position, and I'll be sitting I think in this one or that one, probably that one, from that position, to flame or to fire has to be less than 15 minutes or 15 minutes or less. It's the guidelines say within 15 minutes. So I'm going to set the camera back down and then start it back up, and you'll get to see that, and I'll actually give you a time check before I start.
Okay, so one more thing before we start, and that is always the question of what are you going to use to light the fire? Okay, so if we light the fire, if you've got solar, then use solar. If you've got ferro rod, use ferro rod. If you've got a Bic, use a Bic. The reality is I know what I carry with me. I always carry a ferro rod, I always carry a Fresnel lens, I always carry a Bic lighter. One of those three is going to start my fire guaranteed, one way or another, and that's the purpose of this, is making sure that you get this done guaranteed, because you only have a small window to get things started. Now, it is 10:40 according to my watch, and I'll show you that, but I actually have a 15-minute timer that we're going to start to keep things going. All right, so 10:40, keeping things going. All right, and so time starts when I hit that seat. I'll give a nod or a wave, and then I'll start my watch and we'll go. Okay, put this in the pocket so we can see true life, right? Okay, everybody ready? 15 minutes starting now. All right, I could hear a plane. Take out my Bic. You can already see it starting to climb. And yes, I'm not breaking this down. I'm going to use the whole thing. So I would venture to say that kind of fits the requirements of everything going. I can add 2 again with my bundles over there. I can add 2 based off of the leaves, the leaf litter. I've got plenty of wood behind me. I've got plenty of wood stacked, but using what I showed you earlier, this with the brush and the leaf litter and small twigs, I think we've done that, and we did that in 1 minute and 15 seconds. So I think that qualifies. I think that gets us taken care of. All right. I'm gonna let this run, but needless to say, hey, thanks for all your likes, your comments, subscribing. I do appreciate that. Share this out. All right, if you found it useful, we're gonna try to do some more videos going along survival routes as well as preparedness routes. And then this is really hot. Good thing it's only 70 degrees outside. But thanks for all you do, and keep going, and for the most part, use your instincts to survive. Thanks for watching. For those of you kind of wondering, we're at 8:30, so it's still going, and that's what, 7.5 minutes? No, 6.5 minutes. And you can see it's still pretty big, and again, any given point in time, I've got more to add to it. So it was so high that piece of wood right here was charred from last fire, and it was sitting right out there. And it actually lit, so I had to move it inside. All right, again, thanks for watching.